You were so close. The relationship was working. The project was coming together. The opportunity was right there. And then you did something, maybe something small, maybe something you can't even explain, and you ruined it. Not because you didn't want it. You wanted it desperately, but some part of you, some quiet and powerful part, decided that you weren't allowed to have it. That's self-sabotage, and it's not laziness, it's not bad luck, it's not a character flaw, it's the shadow, the part of you that you won't look at, running the show from underneath. Self-sabotage doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it's obvious. You blow up a good relationship the night before it gets serious. You miss the deadline on the project that mattered most. You pick a fight with the person who's trying to help you. But more often, it's subtle. You procrastinate on the thing you care about most, while being perfectly productive on everything else. You forget to follow up on the opportunity. You say yes to something you know will overwhelm you, so the real thing has to be dropped. The pattern is always the same. The closer you get to something that matters, the more likely you are to pull away from it. Not from the things that don't matter, from the things that do. And the strangest part is that in the moment, it doesn't feel like sabotage. It feels justified. It feels logical. You had a good reason for canceling. You had a good reason for not sending the email. The excuse always makes sense on the surface, but underneath, the same mechanism is firing every time. Something inside you is more afraid of getting what you want than of losing it. Jung understood this. He saw that the psyche doesn't just suppress the parts of yourself you're ashamed of, your anger, your selfishness, your hunger. It also suppresses the parts of yourself that are too bright, too capable, too powerful. He called this the golden shadow. And it's the key to understanding self-sabotage. Most people think the shadow is only the dark stuff, the jealousy, the rage, the pettiness. But Jung said the shadow also contains your unlived potential, the version of yourself that is fully competent, fully creative, fully alive, the version that doesn't hold back. And that version gets pushed into the shadow, not because it's bad, but because it's too much for the family system that needed you to stay small, too much for the social group that needed you to fit in, too much for the belief you formed early on, the belief that said, people like me don't get to have that. This is the engine of self-sabotage. It's not that you can't succeed, it's that success activates a belief so deep you don't even know it's there. I am not the kind of person who gets to have this. So the psyche steps in and does what it does best. It protects you, not from failure, from success, because success means becoming someone your unconscious doesn't recognize. And the unconscious would rather keep you safe in familiar pain than let you walk into unfamiliar joy. This is why self-sabotage intensifies at thresholds, right before the promotion, right before the commitment, right before the creative breakthrough. The closer you get to the thing that would change you, the louder the sabotage becomes. Because self-sabotage isn't the enemy attacking you. It's the guard you hired to protect an old version of yourself. And that guard doesn't know the war is over. So how do you stop sabotaging yourself? You don't fight it. You can't outrun a part of yourself. It moves when you move. The first step is recognition, not fixing, not overriding, just seeing it. The next time you notice yourself pulling away from something that matters, procrastinating, picking a fight, making an excuse, pause. Don't act on it. Don't analyze it. Just name it. This is the pattern. That alone changes the dynamic. Because self-sabotage works in the dark. It works when you're not watching. The moment you turn toward it and say, "I see what you're doing," it loses most of its power. Not because you've solved it, because you've made it conscious. The second step is harder. It's asking the question the sabotage doesn't want you to ask. What am I protecting myself from? Not what am I afraid of? You already know that. What am I protecting myself from? By staying small. What belief do I have about what happens to people who succeed? What did I learn early, before I had words for it, about what it means to be too much, too visible, too powerful? Because somewhere in your history, there's a moment where you learned that the safest place to be was just below the threshold, and your psyche has been faithfully keeping you there ever since. The third step is the one that actually changes things. You have to do the thing anyway, not because the fear is gone, not because the sabotage has stopped, but because you've decided that the old contract, the one that says you have to stay small to stay safe, no longer applies. This is what Jung meant by integrating the shadow, not destroying it, not defeating it, making room for it, saying, "I see the part of me that's afraid of this, and I'm going to do it with that part still in the room." 3 questions. Journal on them, or just sit with them. 1. Think about the last time you were on the edge of something good and you pulled away. What was the thing you almost had? And what story did you tell yourself about why it didn't work out? Now look underneath that story. Is there a belief, "I don't deserve this," or "it's not safe to have this," or "people like me don't get this," hiding beneath the excuse? 2. What is your version of too much, too successful, too visible, too happy, too free? What's the quality you're most afraid of embodying fully? Because that quality is probably sitting in your golden shadow. It's the thing you admire most in others and refuse to claim for yourself. 3. If the sabotage stopped tomorrow, if you actually let yourself have the thing, what would change? Not practically, emotionally. Who would you become? And does that version of yourself feel safe, or does it feel dangerous? Self-sabotage isn't proof that something is wrong with you. It's proof that something inside you is still trying to keep you safe, using rules that were written a long time ago in a world that no longer exists. The shadow isn't your enemy. It's the part of you that took the hit so the rest of you could survive. And now it's time to update the agreement. You don't have to fight yourself to grow. You have to include yourself, all of yourself, even the parts that are afraid of what happens next. That's the work. That's always been the work. Next week, we're starting a new thread. We've spent 7 videos going deep into how your psychology shapes your relationships, your identity, and your hidden self. Now, we're going to start pulling those threads together and asking the question that sits underneath all of it. Who are you when you stop performing? This is the depth work.